Hey folks, it's Pastor Rick, your Utah wine pastor. And today I've got a wine update for you. Last Friday, we had a Mountain of Faith wine night, and it was all about Spanish wines. We had a good turnout, I'd say about 10 people, and the night got off to a really good start with a 2022 Confechis. It's a white Spanish wine that Bonnie and I have been enjoying for several years now. And it's a blend of several native grapes, some of them I'd never even heard of, but it's 41% Parellada, 29% Macabeo, 17% Zarello. They throw in a little Chardonnay, 8%, and 5% Malvasia. It's only 12% alcohol, and so this wine doesn't exactly overwhelm your palate. It's just perfect for sipping as an aperitif, but it's got enough guts. It's substantial enough to enjoy with food. I wouldn't be afraid at all to pair this with something like grilled chicken, though I probably wouldn't include something like barbecue sauce on it, but just chicken off the grill or something like chicken risotto with mushrooms. I think it'd be very good. And at 20 bucks a bottle, I wouldn't say it's a great value, but it's a decent one. And I'd say it's worth the money. Um, this wine got a 92-point rating from Wine Enthusiast, and they describe it as full textured, bright from the first sip, with flavors of pineapple, passion fruit, and rose that evaporate into a vivid finish. Um, I guess I'd add that this wine has just kind of a mouth-watering salinity to it that gives it a little bit of a mineral character that just makes it a real pleasure to drink. So I recommend it a lot. Confechis from the Penedès region. The next wine up was a rosé, a 2023 Olivares Rosado from the Jumilla region in the southeastern part of Spain. I looked it up on the map. It's not very far from the Mediterranean, and so it comes as no surprise that it's made in that sort of French style of rosé, which means it's dry. This wine was a real pleasant surprise, and especially at $12.50 a bottle, it's definitely a good value. I'd say that everyone in the group seemed to enjoy it, especially after they saw the price tag. Robert Parker gave this wine a 90-point rating and described it as having a tasty palate, good ripeness, and great balance. I'd also describe it as very fresh tasting, juicy flavors of red fruit, and like the Confechis that we tasted before, this Rosado I would think would serve as a really nice aperitif. But it's a serious wine, and at 13% alcohol and loads of character, I think it would pair well with a wide variety of appetizers and first plates. Um, I think it's worth making a special effort to get hold of this one. I picked it up at the wine store on Third West near Costco, so you might check it out there. Wine number 3 for the evening was a 2021 Mestizaje from Bodegas Mustiguillo. I had only tasted this wine once before, so it was still very new to me. Um, as was the primary grape used in blending it. I'd actually never heard of Bobal before, but it makes up 75% of the blend. The rest of the blend is 15% Garnacha, which is the Spanish word for Grenache, and they throw in another 10% Syrah. Um, RobertParker.com loved this wine, and so did I. Parker described it as having good balance and freshness, classical and seriousness. I agree with that. It's what I would call a gutsy wine with big red and black fruit flavors and a nice long finish, enough tannin in it to qualify as serious. I'd serve this wine with anything cooked over fire and smoke. And at $18 a bottle, I think it may have been the most quality per dollar spent of all the wines we tasted, with maybe an exception of the last one. I'll get to that in just a minute. The fourth wine of the night was a 2019 Mencia from Losada Vinos de Finca. And I would tell you that was the surprise of the evening. I'd originally planned to serve this one as the first of the reds, but I had to change my plans when I poured it and saw the color on it. I posted a rating sheet for this wine on UtahWinePastor.com. It's under weekly tasting updates on the wine tab, and you may want to check it out for all my thoughts on it. But just to suffice it to say that this wine scratched my big red wine itch. The color, like I was saying, was very dark, almost inky. It's made in a rustic style with big, kind of in-your-face blackberry and dark cherry flavors. And it's big in terms of alcohol, too, 14.5%. But even with that, it doesn't come across as unbalanced or hot. James Suckling rated this wine at 92 points, and I think you definitely want to serve food with this one and probably even decant it for an hour or so before sitting down to eat. I think some air on this blockbuster will do it some good. It's a lot of wine for $20, and it too is available at the wine store on 3rd West. We closed the night with what for me was probably the star of the show. It's an older 2016 Larchago Reserve Rioja. Now, it's made by the Bodegas Familia Chavarri, and it's in that Rioja region. These folks have been making wine in northern Spain since 1882. And the elegance and refinement in this Rioja just proves that they know what they're doing. This wine was aged 18 months in French oak, and it spent another 18 months in bottle before it was released. And I would just tell you, it has class. It was the most expensive wine of the evening, but not by much. It's only $23. I would say it's still a super value when you consider the overall quality of the wine. To me, it tasted like a $35 or $40 bottle of wine. James Suckling gives this wine a 93-point rating. He describes it as savory and complex with minty blueberries, cedar, wet leaves tobacco, and a hint of chili chocolate. He talks about it being quite sleek, refined, and juicy, showing lots of restraint and elegance, that it's long and precise. He says it's delicious now, but can hold for another 5 years or so. And I would agree 100% with everything he said. It was a great way for us to end the evening. So I hope you enjoyed this little update. If you did, I'd invite you to check out my website, UtahWinePastor.com, and let me hear from you. There's a contact page there. Just you can drop me an email. I'm always interested in feedback, both on my wine thoughts and on the weekly messages that I post there. So with that, I'll say take care, cheers, and amen.